Boom shakalaka laka boom shakalaka laka boom boom shakabaka laka laka shakaka laka 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 lapa shukalapa do deep bubba d and lapa dip double shakaba baba bow. Welcome back to Popcorn Poppin Live, your ultimate weekly movie streaming and TV guide. I'm that guy. How are y'all doing today? I am very sorry for being a little late. Wow, we're like 10 minutes late. That's my bad. I blame the program. I was trying to upload something for you guys. It'll make more sense later. Don't you worry about it. There's too much content in the world and you can't be wasting your time. So let me waste my time for you by watching all that looks vaguely interesting and letting you know what's popping and what ain't. Tonight we'll be rating this past week's films, including Final Destination BloodLines, a few other ones, and we'll go over the latest news and upcoming projects. But first, let's talk about some television, shall we? By television, actually, I lied. Oh yeah, we're switching up the order now. We're gonna do news first because no one's here, so we might as well just talk about the news first. All right. I don't know if you heard it through the grapevine. Kristen Ritter's joining Daredevil, Born Again Season 2. You know it's Jessica Jones, she's coming back. The Defenders was a little bit whack. Ooh, where's Luke Cage? He better come back too. You can leave Iron Fist, he was doo-doo. Iron Fist is a good, hero, but he was shit. He was garbage in that show. So if they bring back everyone, dope. But I'm really happy they're bringing back Jessica Jones. You can catch up on the old cinematic universe on Disney Plus that was on Netflix. But Jessica Jones was my favorite besides Luke Cage. Although I really like Jessica Jones because I'm a Kristen Ritter fan and I like the Private Eye thing. And Purple Man was the best villain in almost all of MCU, if you ask me. So I'm pretty excited to hear about that. I'm not very surprised, but we'll see how it goes. I am excited nonetheless. Also, other expanded universes. For the Rocky Creed universe is expanding with, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but Delphi. It's the boxing rink that boxing ring. I don't know sports where they fought, where they trained, where they became the legends that they were meant to be. They're making a TV show out of that. Michael B. Jordan's executive producing. I haven't heard if Ryan Coogler's involved, but hopefully he is. Other expanded universes. I don't know how expanded of a universe this is going to be, but Nicolas Cage is starring in, you remember a little thing called Into the Spider-Verse? Yes, they made a lot of Spider-Man things, including movies, TV shows, and video games. But behold, we are getting another new TV show, except it's live action. And it's in a sort of Sin City-esque thing. Let me explain. In Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I almost said Into the Universe. In Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, there was a little character called Spider Noir that was voiced by Nicolas Cage. He didn't return for the second one, but he is returning for an MGM Plus and Amazon Prime television series that is live action. Nicolas Cage is playing that character. That's him right there. That is the show. That is not Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think it looks pretty cool. You can find the teaser trailer leaked online. It is very Sin City-esque, and I think that was a pretty cool idea to do. I don't know how we're going to like it, but I hope that would do. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of CGI because Nicolas Cage is not young. And to be swinging around all the time, you're going to need a younger looking person or thing or CGI thing anyways. As far as other series go, we have Jermaine Fowler joining the Barbershop series. It's a TV series. It's going to be ordered by Amazon, so apparently it'll be on Prime. But you remember Ice Cube and Eve and Cedric the Entertainer. I doubt any of them are coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if Cedric the Entertainer... No, I don't remember what happened to Cedric the Entertainer's character. I wouldn't be surprised if he died, though, because he was super old. In any case, I'm happy for Jermaine Fowler, but I don't know how they're going to do the series. I'm assuming it's going to be sitcom because Jermaine Fowler was recently in Superior Donuts, which was actually a pretty solid show. I don't like live studio audience shows, but that show was pretty funny. I dug it. So we'll see how that goes. No word on when it's going to be released. I don't even know if they started filming yet. But they have, I believe, started filming. Oh, no, they're set to executive produce and play Siegfried and Roy. Who is playing Siegfried and Roy, you may ask? It is Jude Law from Young Pope and Star Wars Skeleton Crew, amongst others, and Andrew Garfield. It's so weird that they put his credits as Under the Banner of Heaven and Tick, Tick, Boom, like all of you guys have seen that. You know, one of the Spider-Mens and the dude from Captain Marvel. We can do better than that. You know who Jude Law is. It's Jude Law. Closer. And AI and other movies. Anyways, they're playing Siegfried and Roy. And apparently set to executive produce as well. Also, South Park is going to be exclusively for Paramount Plus, ? In the US anyway. So there's this whole bidding war that we have talked about on Popcorn Poppin' around a year ago, actually. Because right now you can watch like the specials on Paramount Plus, and you can watch the whole television series on Max. By the way, I am just remembering that I had forgotten the biggest news of all. HBO Max that was HBO Max. HBO that turned into HBO Max, that turned into Max, is now back to HBO Max again. Last time they did this, you had to re-download an app. I don't know if they're going to upgrade it and change the title, but they went back to HBO Max. My thoughts? It's popping. I prefer HBO Max. Everyone calls it HBO Max. If you say, hey, did you watch Max earlier? They're going to be like, who's Max? It's a streaming service. There's not a Claire streaming service. Why are we calling it by regular names? Go back to HBO Max. It sounds better. It's more syllables, but it works. Anyway, South Park may be lost from HBO Max and going exclusively to Paramount Plus. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because I have a few friends that like watching South Park on repeat. I love South Park. I can't watch it over and over and over and over and over and over again, even though they have so much greatness. Yet, I do know this will affect some people because I don't know many people that have Paramount Plus. So if you don't, you might want to get it, but there are rumors spurring around the interwebs that they are going to come to some sort of agreement where it'll be on Max and Paramount Plus, which more money for Trey Parker and Matt Stone. So more power to them. Speaking of more power, let's give more power to the television show Shrinking. That's on Apple TV Plus right now. Co-created by Bill Lawrence. It looks like Michael J. Fox will be joining the cast, at least as a special guest star. If you did not know, Michael J. Fox was not only in Back to the Future, but he was also on a little TV show called Spin City, which I had no idea that Bill Lawrence, his first show that he created was Spin City. I loved Spin City. I think most people remember Charlie Sheen being the front runner of that, but Michael J. Fox is the OG of Spin City. Really hilarious show. Anyways, yes, his Parkinson's is pretty severe and he retired from acting, but it looks like Bill Lawrence brought him back into the fold, and rumor has it it's because the co-lead, Harrison Ford, his character has Parkinson's. So I'm sure he's going to meet Michael J. Fox, and Michael J. Fox is going to walk him through it. If you ever watch Shrinking yet, get Apple TV Plus now and check it out. I like it more than Ted Lasso, but it is a little more depressing at times than Ted Lasso. I still dig it a lot. Speaking of other things I dig the film Good Night and Good Luck. If you haven't seen the movie about Edward R. Murrow during the McCarthy era, I'm not even a history guy, but I did my senior thesis paper on McCarthyism. Very interesting time in history where Joseph McCarthy, I don't remember history that well, but he's a government person, created like blacklists and made people go to prison and blackballed certain celebrities and movie stars and just people in general. It's called the Red Scare. And Edward R. Murrow was one of the only news anchors that actually was like, hey, fuck this guy. We're going to report the news how he is doing it. And he also did other stuff as well. Anyways, George Clooney co-wrote and directed and starred, but not as Edward R. Murrow, in a film called Good Night and Good Luck. Excellent film. If you haven't watched it before, rent it. It is excellent. It's one of my favorite George Clooney films. But currently, he is on Broadway right now as Edward R. Murrow in a stage adaptation of Good Night and Good Luck. So I think it's really, really cool. I'm pretty excited, but I can't afford it. Well, it's okay if you can't afford it because CNN is going to be showing it live on their station. I don't know if they'll be streaming it as well, but they will be streaming directly from Broadway's Winter Garden Theater on CNN June 7th. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, let's get into one depressing piece of news. Something that I called out, I believe, in the season premiere of PopCorn Poppin'. There's one canceled show that came across my desk, and that is The Bondsman. I had mentioned this as one of the shows to look out for in the premiere episode of PopCorn Poppin' because I thought it was dope. I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny. And I love Kevin Bacon. And I love any storyline that has to do with hunting demons. That's pretty fun, right? Well, we didn't, including me, we didn't watch more than the first episode. So they canceled it. I kind of knew it was going to happen. I should have kept watching. I'm the problem. But so are you. Boo-hoo you. Boo-hoo me. Boo-hoo Kevin Bacon and the Bondsman people. I feel really bad. We should have watched it. But that's okay because we got other renewals. Here are some renewal announcements. Fallout Season 3. Season 2 hasn't even premiered yet, but it will in December on Prime. We also have The Diplomat, which has a Season 3 that hasn't premiered yet, but it will be premiering this fall. Season 4 is already greenlit. We also have Forever, which just premiered on Netflix last week or the week prior. They're getting a Season 2 on Netflix. 4 seasons, which I was hoping for a Season 2, even though I was like, we don't need one, but yeah, let's do it. Because it will be one character less, but I won't tell you who. Just know that. Unless the ghost of this person shows up. In any case, fun show. Watch the first season on Netflix. We are getting a Season 2. And I don't care about this, but I will report the news as it comes through to all the people that may find it interesting. And I've noticed that my audience is usually females, and I find that females seem to like Bridgerton. And Bridgerton is coming back. It is renewed for seasons 5 and 6. And season 4 isn't even out yet. That's crazy. So I'm assuming 5 and 6 may be the last ones. Usually when they do season renewals of multiple seasons, before the next season comes out, that means they have an end game plan. So I know nothing of Bridgerton except the later episodes aren't as good as the first episodes. However, you're going to get more of it. 2026 is when season 4 is confirmed to premiere. Let's talk some television, shall we? Shall that be a thing? I believe it will. The first new show that we'll be talking about is Bad Thoughts, which is Tom Segura's anthology series filled with violent and obscene sketches or short films, depending on what you would see. I'd call them sketches, but very expensive sketches that some may call short films. From the mind of comedian Tom Segura, I find Tom Segura very funny. And here's some pros. It has disturbing stories you'd never even think of. It pays homages to the great works like Ripley and Steven Seagal movies. It's quite funny at times, so much so you find yourself disturbed at yourself for finding several scenes very funny. and it has great cameos, including Bobby Lee and Dan Stevens. There are only a handful of cons, that being that there are 3 or 4 repeated jokes, specifically ass eating and shitting in general. At first, I thought it was a con, but it's done so much in a, dare I say, tasteful way that it sort of becomes themes to the series. Overall, it's Poppin' with a buttery medium bucket of popcorn. You can check it out on Netflix right now. Duster. I was really excited about this when I watched the trailer for this, but it stars Josh Holloway as a 1970s getaway driver whom encounters a tenacious FBI agent who wants to take his crime family down. Pros, excellent tone. Excellent. Really, really cool. Great music. So much coolness in it. Just watch the trailer and you'll be like, I see what he's saying about it being cool. It is really cool. I ain't bullshitting. And it has Keith David, and it's got a real cool 1970s funky flair. Cons. Not necessarily a con. It's going to sound like I'm hating, all right? But I'm not. It's just something to think about. Josh Holloway, who's Sawyer from Lost, you know, the guy's like, oh, Freckles, I'm going to fuck you. Josh Holloway looks good for a 55-year-old, and I understand that this show takes place in the 70s, so 50-something-year-olds were getting laid like crazy back then. Probably getting laid like crazy now, especially if they have money. But is no one going to mention how old he is? It's weird. They only 1 episode in, but come on now. At least have some thug he's beating up mention that he's an AARP member. At least have... Does this sound like shade? It sounds like shade. You know what? I'm gonna take that back. The show's great. Now, yes, do I wish I looked like a 55-year-old Josh as myself, a 30-something-year-old Mexican? You betcha. But this con is certainly in jest, and if it wasn't, we have 7 more episodes to look forward to mentioning him being an AARP card holder. But we have plenty of time until then. Anyways, for real, watch Duster. I really dig it. It's on HBO. It's on HBO and HBO Max, officially, Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Another returning show was Love, Death, and Robots Volume 4. I'm only 1 episode away from completing a collection of animated short stories that span various genres, including science fiction, fantasy, horror, and comedy. Pros, fun, surprising, unalike. They're all very original. They have their own thing going. Some are similar to others, but barely. They're all very like, yo, I haven't seen anything like this sort of thing. A lot of them are amusing. Some are depressing. A lot of them are violent. Most of them are violent. Sometimes, some of them are full of heart. Easy watch with shorter episodes. Some episodes are like 7 minutes long. Others are like 20-ish minutes. But most of them span around like 12 minutes, which is pretty dope. Some cons are like most anthology shows. There are some misses, but overall, super dope. The biggest con about this season is David Fincher, one of my favorite directors that I've talked about on this show extensively. He directed Fight Club, The Game, Social Network, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, American version, etc., etc. He usually directs every once in a while this show because he's one of the co-creators or co-executive producers, whatever you want to say. And he directed the first episode of this, which was basically a music video for Red Hot Chili Peppers. Granted, it looked cool, but I wanted more stuff to go on, not just it being a music video. I just wanted a little bit more. I like the visuals, but it was just fancy music video. But you can check this show out on Netflix. I highly recommend to watch the whole thing. It's dope. It's dope. Another new show is Murderbot. That stars Alexander Skarsgård as a rogue security robot in a high-tech future whom secretly gains free will. To stay hidden, it reluctantly joins a new mission protecting scientists on a dangerous planet, even though it just wants to binge watch soap operas. That is the official plotline of this series. Pros! I like the actor. I like Alexander Skarsgård. I love the Skarsgård family. Bill, Leland, the older one. He's cool. I can't remember his name. And I like the overall storyline of Murderbot. I think it's a good idea. It's teetering on, yo, is this robot gonna kill everybody? Like the whole time. Before I give you the cons, I just want you to know I did not watch more than episode 1. I know that there's a second episode out already. They may have premiered with 3 episodes, but I know they premiered with 2. I only watched the first. And my cons of that first episode was too much narration. I am never the biggest fan of narration, except when it's like crucial to driving the plot, not leaning on it too much. For instance, Fight Club, you kind of need the narrator there, and they do it in such a way that's cool to tell the story. This, it does lean on narration a lot, but it's too much. And I'm assuming that there's this much narration because this is based off a book or a series of books. And I'm not uninterested. I lied. I am uninterested in what these people are doing on this planet that he's protecting. They're a bunch of like scientists, hippie scientists. I like the comedy, but I'd like it to be more dark. I'd call it a dark comedy because you're wondering, hey, is this murder bot going to turn into a murder bot? But there's a lot of like fluffy comedy, and I find myself walking away from the screen pretty often. There was a cool like creature fight scene in the first episode. I don't know. I'll keep watching, but it'll be background noise, baby. Now, one show I think it's too late for me to watch. I never gave it a shot, but The Chi is in their final season. They premiered it last Friday. It's a timely coming-of-age drama series centered on a group of residents who become linked by coincidence, but bounded by the need for connection and redemption. Created by Lena Waithe. You can check this out on Paramount Plus Fridays if you have Showtime, and you can check it out on Showtime Sunday nights. I hear good things about the show. I just never watched it. I just like mentioning it because it's probably a good show. I know some people that watch it. And finally, for television, new ones, or returning ones anyway, is a show called Bet, which is on Netflix. Hadn't had a chance to catch the live-action series that's based on the Japanese manga Kakegurui. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And it follows a transfer student at a boarding school where gambling dictates a social hierarchy. I dug the trailer. If murder happens, as you can see, I like watching fictitious murder. Not real murder, mind you. If you are interested as well, check out Bet on Netflix. Just some comments on the seasons that we've already discussed. Poker Face is still dope. Actually, I lied. I hated the last episode. Remember, this is the Mystery of a Week series that follows Charlie Cale, who has an extraordinary ability to determine when someone is lying. The show is still popping, but I hated the last episode. You can check it out on new episodes on Peacock Thursdays. Last of Us had, and I only made it halfway through so far because it premiered last night, and I got a life. I'm sorry, I can't only watch movies and TV. I'm kidding, I don't have a life. But it took me a second to get the show getting together. Anyways, the new episode of Last of Us was last night. I think they got one more left. Great flashback episode that happened in the video game sporadically, but they put it all together in this. It was directed by Neil Druckmann, who is like the creator of Last of Us and writes it, and he's like the front man of Last of Us. He directed the episode, and man, I just wanted to watch the episode to see the scene where he brings her to a museum for her birthday. They captured that part of the video game so damn well, so damn well. When this season is over, I'm definitely going to be doing a special spoiler full of comparisons of the video game to the television series. I'm probably going to have some help from like web pages to like get in the nitty gritties or the Easter eggs, but I think you'll find it interesting if you don't care about spoilers from the video game. I won't spoil what will and should happen in season 3, but I'll definitely be spoiling what happens in season 2. So if you haven't watched Last of Us yet, do yourself a favor and watch at least season 1. And if you still enjoy it, watch season 2, and then we can talk about it later. Your Friends and Neighbors is still dope. I don't know where they're going with this. Jon Hamm's character is in real danger. What with him being a burglar after losing his job and being a hedge fund manager, he resorts to stealing from his neighbors' homes in an affluent Westmont village, only to discover that the secrets hidden behind the wealthy facades might be a little more dangerous. Still popping, still dope. I just don't know where they're going. I'd like more burglaries going awry, yet we'll see how it goes. I think they only have a handful of episodes left, too. Mobland. All right. We're about to get into the movie of the week. All right. I just got to tell you one thing about Mobland. If you don't remember, Mobland stars Tom Hardy and Pierce Brosnan, Helen Mirren, and Patty Considine. Great fucking cast, right? Guy Ritchie executive produces. He directed the first couple episodes, definitely wrote them. And it's about two mob families. We'll just say that. After watching the last episode, I want to quit. All right? I'm done. All right? It has like 1 or 2 episodes left. So I've already spent 8 hours of my life watching this. Let's finish and fucking finish strong. But I kind of hate the show. It's painfully mediocre. Tom Hardy chooses to not act. And sure, it works to a degree, but he now appears to only exist for a paycheck. It's still menacing because he's Tom Hardy, but emote, motherfucker. I'll watch the rest only because there's 2 more episodes, but I'll let you know if it's overall worth it if you haven't tried it yet. But I'm going to stick to my guns by saying the first 2 episodes were poppin' large. The rest of the episodes, not much poppin' going on. Now, before we continue, should I do it now? Yeah, let's do it now. I have exclusive footage of... So we're going to talk about Final Destination, right? Spotlight film. Final Destination BloodLines. It's in theaters right now. But before we talk about that, let's just look at this footage I have of Death seeing
Mr. Death,
one of his bosses.
Thank you. Would you like anything to drink? No, I'm fine. Okay, Candace, nothing to drink for him. No thanks, I'll just stick with this. Thank you, Candace. Shut the door, please. Thank you. Got a body on her, doesn't she? It's okay, we can talk like that here. Right. I thought we were having this meeting with with Big Man. Well, apparently he's got a bunch of other stuff to do, and technically he's all-seeing and all-knowing, so he's basically here. Right. So I assume you know why you're here today, Dr. Death. Oh wait, that's Mr. Kevorkian. Mr. Death. Still sounds weird. Just a little bit. Can I call you by your first name? Todd, is it? Well, that's not my name. I mean, according to your file here, you are Todd Death. I haven't gone by that name in a while. I prefer the Grim Reaper or the Shadow or Joe Black. Okay, Todd. Okay. So you know why we're here, right? Yes. Great. Then let's get this performance review started. Performance review? Yeah. Oh, I thought we were going to go over approving my vacation time for Memorial Day weekend. Really? Yeah. Really? Mm-hmm. That's pretty ballsy. How so? Well, let's look at a few projects that had gone awry, shall we? Awry, but successful. Successful? I don't know. In the year 2000, you were supposed to take the lives of an entire plane full of human souls, but we're short 7. I mean, I eventually got them. But it took over a year to do so, and in that span of a year, you also failed to complete the quota of an expressway accident and missing a repeated 7 souls. What's up with that? It's not like I wasn't paying attention. And you never were able to catch 2 of them. They cheated my design. Ugh, here we go with the death design bullshit again. Hey, respect the design. Sir, please? I mean, it is flawless, my design, that is. And besides those 2 incidents... 2006, Vancouver, Canada. Fucking Canada. You were 8 souls short from the Devil's Flight roller coaster crash. So 1 higher than 7. It was certainly not my finest hour. I don't even want to go over the racetrack incident in 2008. That shit sucked. Oh shit, we glossed over the people surviving the bridge collapse before the plane crash. Now I'm hearing we have some sort of unfinished business with a building collapse from the Skyview building in 1968. Okay, so I've definitely brought in some errors. I've definitely brought in more results than errors. Well, we're a little strict around here, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to deny your vacation. Come on, Mr. Satan. Please. Call me Lou. Lou, I haven't had a vacation in literally forever. That's not true. Don't lie now, Todd. That is not true. I've seen you've been to Israel and Palestine quite a few times recently. That was work! Todd! I'm afraid my hands are tied. Why don't we circle back to this next quarter, huh? Yeah, right. Sure. I just can't give Death a break right now, all willy-nilly. Right. Sure. It might fuck some shit up for the planet. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, Todd. Here, take these home with you. Consider it a thank you for killing the whole Spider-Man Extended Universe thing. I really appreciate that. I'd love to say you're welcome, but I'm not responsible for the deaths of film franchises, just human souls. Well, you would have been responsible for me killing myself had I had to endure one more of those films. So, good looks. The door? Thanks for the skills.
Interesting. Anyways, let's talk about Final Destination Bloodlines, aka Final Destination 6, aka we're still making these. Yes, of course we're still making these. Why would you say it like that? I love Final Destination. Then again, I love horror films. Who doesn't, right? People who are scared easily, of course. But people who like to be scared can see the fun behind these films. It's very Rube Goldberg, and if you don't know who Rube Goldberg is, I'll explain that to you later. Let's just go right into Final Destination Bloodlines, aka Final Destination 6, which came out over the weekend. Plagued by a violent and recurring nightmare, a college student heads home to track down the one person who might be able to break the cycle of death and save her family from the grisly demise that eventually awaits them all. That being death, of course. The actors include Caitlin Santa Juana, Richard Harmon, and other people that you may not know, except for Tony Todd. And if you don't remember Tony Todd, he is Candyman. He was in also several of the Final Destinations. He basically plays the harbinger of the Final Destinations. This film was directed by Zach Lipovsky, who directed Leprechaun Origins. That's the only Leprechaun that didn't have Warwick Davis. Check out the trailer. I'll wait for you. Watch the trailer, Leprechaun Origins. That looked weird, right? Apparently it's terrible. I'm very interested. Anyways, this was also directed by Adam Stein. Now, these two have directed a lot of films together. By a lot of films, I mean a lot of stuff together. One film is called Freaks, which you can watch on Netflix right now. I am interested in it because the rating was fair, and they're making a sequel pretty soon. And I think after this film, they're going to get some money off of it, because I think this film is doing rather well. It won't do better this week because Mission Impossible is coming out. But guess what else they did? The live-action 2019 film, Kim Possible. Am I in the Mandela effect? I totally forgot that they did that. Of course, I didn't watch it, and I hear it sucks. In any case, they did that, and they also did this film. So, what did we think of it? Let's turn now to Bucky. Bucky, how you doing today? Looks like you're doing pretty good. Okay, Bucky, do me a favor. Let the people know. What do we think of this movie? Looks like it's surprisingly poppin'. Thank you very much, Bucky. I appreciate your time. That's right. It wasn't that surprising that it was poppin', but it was definitely better than I had thought it was going to be. Pros, great central event. The Skyview building that collapses in the 1970s, I believe. I go more into it later. Wild event. Very shocking. A lot of build-up, too. And it's kind of the opening scene, but it takes like 14 minutes for you to get there because you're kind of like looking around the building, getting the goose pimples. It's really, really dope. It is sick, scary, and suspenseful. Seeing this in the theater is awesome. I'm going to repeat that a few times. This is definitely a movie theater watch. Fantastic deaths. Specifically, the hospital MRI machine. So when they're in the if you haven't seen it yet, when they're in the hospital, there's an MRI machine scene. Look out for it. It's dope. There's a backyard scene that you know has something to do with a shard of glass and a barbecue. That's all I'll say. But the film is funny and it is fun. And it plays with the audience about what you think is going to happen. So we all remember Final Destinations 1's infamous bus plowing scene, right? If I ruined it for you, trust me, you won't see it coming. Actually, I lied. You will see it coming because this was the OG. A lot of times you see people talk like this, get really pissed off, walk out to the middle of the street, and then they're hit by a car, usually a bus. Final Destination 1 was basically the first film to do this. Meet Joe Black was another film that made it more popular. It was a lot less surprising these days because whenever you see a character in the street and they're usually screaming, they're going to get hit by some sort of vehicle. They play with that in this. You see it in other films, but there's a lot of times in this movie where you think you know what's going to happen. The music plays, and then nothing happens. It's a lot of fun, and they do it a few times in this. They know their audience, and I dig that. They pull the rug from you. You shout at the screen for surprising scenes that happen throughout the film. There are so many oohs, there were so many ahs, and there were a ton of holy shits. I love that in a movie theater when you can actually feel something. Me, I was literally being like, oh shit! Made me feel. Made my heart palpitate. And that's what you need from a good movie in a movie theater or at home. See it in the movie theater, but there are some cons. Only a few, though. I get we're in a new age of Final Destinations, but I didn't like how different this was from the others. Sure, it's been many years. Let's change it up. Be a little more surprising. They sort of abandoned intervening, which is a huge part of the Final Destination mythology. If you don't remember, in the first film, Devon Sawa and his crew are trying to intervene. And when they find out that they intervene, and by that I mean they see a death that's about to occur, they save that person, death skips over that person. No spoilers. They don't do that in this movie. They're just trying to figure out how to stop it, which granted, of course, yeah, let's stop people from dying, but they should have talked about intervention a little bit. Not intervention for alcoholics or addicts. I'm talking about intervening from deaths. They don't mention it, and that was kind of annoying. They just try to prolong everything. Many scenes made me sort of feel uninterested in what was going on. There are so many scenes. So the Skyview opening is really enthralling, but once you stick with the main actress in the film, the main character, the actress is very good in it, but you kind of get lost in the sauce and like, I don't really care what's going on. And the whole BloodLines storyline of death following your entire family tree because you weren't supposed to be alive in the first place because the original was supposed to die in Death's design. I get it. It's slightly interesting, but they talked about it a lot, which is why they did quality over quantity, meaning a lot of the Final Destinations have a lot of deaths because that's what people are going to the movie theater for. This doesn't have many deaths. Not a huge complaint because the quality of the deaths that happen in this film are fairly good. There does come a certain point, though, where you really stop caring. Like I said, the MRI machine scene is the best death, maybe of the entire series, because it's fucking sick. Once that happens, there's an upcoming climax for the rest of the characters. And that shit is boring in comparison. It's like the directors gave it to someone else, like the AD, and was like, here, you can finish it off. And they're like, yay! And don't worry, the movie doesn't end terribly. It's just the other deaths that happen are kind of like, it's okay. Now, on the Popo-meter, what do we give it? That seemed like a lot of cons, but I was pretty hype about the pros. And don't worry, the pros still overtake the cons. Meaning, this movie is poppin'. It's just because of those cons, I couldn't give it a large buttery popcorn. I could only give it a medium with butter, but a medium with butter. It would have been a large if the story was a little more interesting and the concept of BloodLines without comparing to the rules of the firsts is whatever, but it negates the new life thing in 2. And by that, Final Destination 2, they're trying to break Dead's design after Tony Todd's William Bloodworth explains that new life will break the design. That might not be a direct quote, but they're basically trying to get someone that's pregnant to have their kid. They abandon it completely for reasons I won't get into. But that is kind of what's happening in this movie. New lives are happening, and Death is trying to kill all those lives. But I thought that new life would break Death's design. So if someone wants to explain that to me, feel free to message me or leave a comment below. In any case, still worth seeing, still a medium with butter. Go to the movie theaters to watch it. Before I get into all the other ones, we're going to rank all the Final Destinations. But first, I just want to check out Miss Robin Floyd, who saw the film in theaters. I'm pretty sure I saw her there. She says, Final Destination BloodLines was good. Medium popcorn with butter. Hell yeah! My #1 fan agrees with me. I dig it. Usually, she'll like them. Actually, we're kind of not exactly opposite. We'll have the same feelings of films, but she'll give it a way better rating than whenever I go medium, she goes large, and vice versa. So we're on the same page with this. Super dug it. Oh, one more pro of this film. And I need to make sure that I say it can say it right. 1 second. Another pro of this film is the soundtrack. It has really great music in it. And another reason why I love the sky view building collapse was because it is edited as like a sort of montage to, you know, you make me want to shout, put my hands up and shout, come on now, shout, hey, 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 ah! Super dope. Sorry for being really loud. I know that was piercing for you, but it had to be done. I love that song. I love that song. I love that song. And to have that song happen during the event is dope. Another reason being, which we'll get into soon, when you watch films that remind you of other things, for instance, you drive on an expressway and you see a big-ass truck with stuff that might fall off, you think of Final Destination 2. Now when I think of Shout, I'll think of this movie. Very smart sensory deprivation. Probably not using that word right. Very smart way to make you think of the film through everyday life. Just wanted to mention that. Now, where does this leave us with all the other Final Destinations? I'll tell you. This ranks a little higher than you're going to expect. But let's start off by talking about the isms of Final Destination, meaning, what do we usually see in Final Destinations? Well, we see a core event and we see Rube Goldberg type deaths. Now, what do I mean by Rube Goldberg? Rube Goldberg was a person. I thought I had it written down. Damn, I don't have it written down. Well, I guess I'll look it up for you real quick. My apologies. I could have swore I had it written down. Sons of bitches. All right. Well, you probably heard of Rube Goldberg machines. Final Destination is basically like one giant Rube Goldberg machine, which is a contraption designed to perform a simple task in complex and often humorous ways. You kind of see it a lot in OK Go music videos. If you haven't heard the OK Go song, but the music videos is where it's at. Basically, if I drop this, it lands into something else, which rolls and does stuff. That is what all the Final Destinations do. BloodLines does it as well, don't get me wrong. They do it pretty fun as well, but there are some things that happen pretty often with all of them. There's always some sort of electricity wire thing, like the power line that was running loose in Final Destination 1, and Devon Sawa's character had to literally fight it with a shovel and lose. There's also always some sort of leak, whether it's water or gas. 9 times out of 10, it's gas and something's about to explode. They do that in this, don't worry. There's usually songs like John Denver or other songs that will signify, oh, something scary is going to happen. John Denver being a person in real life that died from a plane crash, every time you heard that song, it's like, oh, God, what's going to happen in Final Destination 1? There are premonitions in all of them, including this one, but there's only one goddamn premonition in this film. Apparently they wanted to just leave the premonition thing altogether and have her just study a book that her great-grandmother or just regular grandmother made for her, that she can see that there are other things coming. There we go. Where she can see other things. Where she can see other things coming. Several main characters throughout the series are named after horror directors. A little friendly fact for you. And Tony Todd, who plays the harbinger of almost all the films, that basically says, death has a design. You be scared, little kids. Go on, run now. I'm a coroner, and I deal with dead bodies. I know about death. He is in this one, and it is his final farewell. He is only in 1, 2, and 5. His voice is in 3, but he was absent in 4. That kind of sucks, right? Why would 4 just tell him, hey, you can't be in this? I'm going to tell you something. He's lucky, because the worst Final Destination is Final Destination 4. This was the one that's actually called The Final Destination. Ooh. And it was in 3D. Ooh. Because it was in 3D, they decided, hey, fuck the story, fuck the suspense. Let's just do a bunch of deaths without building any sort of thing that makes it bite your nails. Let's do mediocre acting and a bunch of CGI. I hated this movie. It was the one with the race car track. It's not good. Other deaths aren't even worth mentioning for this. I give this a small burnt popcorn. Don't watch this. Skip it altogether. But if you want to watch a movie to make fun of it, go ahead and watch it. I don't like shitting on movies this hard, but compared to the rest of the series, this one sucked. I was not a fan. Now the rest of the Final Destinations were really hard for me to rank, but since I'm trying this whole ranking thing, I change my mind about rankings every once in a while. That's why I can't give like a top 10 my favorite movies of all time, because it always changes. I can't give a number 1, but I can give you a number 5 for now, and that is Final Destination 3, which used to be my second favorite, but then I went through all of them recently before watching BloodLines, and I got to tell you, I love this movie, but other ones just were a little bit superior. Now, in Final Destination 3, our main event is the roller coaster. Great main event. Goes on for a while, that whole death premonition scene, and it's the ride from hell. The best deaths are still super memorable. The tanning booth, the workout gym, the nail gun, so many. I give this a medium popcorn, but my biggest con with it is that, yeah, sure, we got a Mary Elizabeth Winstead, a.k.a. Ramona Flowers, trying to stop and intervene with these deaths, but she fails every single time. Every single time. Maybe not the last 2, but she fails often. I love her, and I love the acting, and I love the direction of the film. There's so many shots that I really, really enjoy, and it is still super fun. I just didn't like that they failed over and over and over again. It got to a point where Roxy, who was sitting right next to me, said, if this motherfucker dies next, I would just stop trying to stop people, because they seem to be the cause of all of these. And she's right. She's on to something. Now, number 4 on the best destinations is Final Destination 2, which I believe is most people's favorite Final Destination because of its main event. And that's the expressway crash scene. Anytime anyone's on an expressway and they see any sort of truck that they're behind, directly behind, they're like, oh, I've seen Final Destination. I'm going to get the fuck out of here, especially if you see something flapping or shaking on the car or truck, whatever. Everyone always thinks about this film when they're driving on the expressway because of this film. And for that to happen, that makes this film iconic. And I would put it at number 1, but this is my personal opinion, not what the general opinion is of others. So when I say that, I mean Final Destination 3 should probably be higher as everyone thinks this is one of the best. Final Destination 2, I think most people like this one more than number 1. Mostly because of this damn scene. The rest of the movie's still pretty good, and I really, really dig that they're kind of a team, the survivors, trying to look out for each other in some scenes, and other people see little signs, like the man with Hook's shadow thing. And it had some good deaths. We had the dentist scene, which wasn't the death that happened after the dentist, that's the death. But the scene that happened with the dentist where the birds kept flying into the window, and he goes, oh, God, this keeps happening. Fucking get some curtains or blinds, bro. It will never happen again. Stop replacing the windows. It's super expensive. There's also the elevator decapitation scene, which is super dope. And we have the apartment scene where the guy that won the lottery gets his hand stuck in the garbage disposal. Putting your hand in garbage disposal is already scary, but to get it stuck while a fire's happening behind you, that's scary. That's very scary. But it was also hilarious. So it was super dope. The team worked. I just thought that other films did a little better. Plus, I hated the fact that I found out that Claire's name isn't Claire, it's Clear. Have you ever met someone named Clear before? No shade on anyone named Clear, but I don't think that's a real thing. All right? So, writer, why did you name her Clear? Because she's like clear-minded. That's just no shade. If I meet someone that's named Clear, I'll apologize to them. But that's a dumb fucking name. All right? And I'm clear-headed. I'm not drunk or high. I'm just drinking Arnold Palmer. Next up. Oh, and I gave this one a medium popcorn. The Bronze Destination. The third best Final Destination is Final Destination 5. Huge surprise, right? That the fifth installment of something is one of my favorites. It's kind of like Nightmare on Elm Street. Like 3 was actually really fucking good. Or other things that have like 6 movies in them. Like Mission Impossible. Fallout is one of my favorite Mission Impossibles. And it really shouldn't be. Because when it comes to the 5th installment of anything, you're more up in arms of, why do they keep making this? Instead of, wow, this was actually really good. I could be saying this because me and Roxy watched 4 and 5 back to back, and 4 sucked so hard that anything else after it is just super awesome in comparison. But they really did work on this film. There were suspense scenes, like it's not ballet, where the balance beams and stuff. The gymnastics scene. That was really good. There's a pin on the walking beam. I think I'm using the right terms. There was just a lot going on. The main event of this is the bridge collapse, which is done very well. It did not make me think like as iconically of driving on a bridge that I'm going to think of this movie, but I'm probably going to think of this movie. I always think of Mothman Prophecies. Big recommend, by the way. Having said that, this was a very well done film. That was a really well done main event thing. The laser eye surgery scene was scary. The acupuncture scene was hilarious. And it was just fun. Medium with butter. I loved this movie. There was also internal conflict with the characters. 3 kind of messed with it, with the guy following them to the fair, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead is like, no, get away from us. And he's like, what? Are you scared? But he really wasn't doing anything. This has someone that's literally trying to kill others in the group. I don't want to give away too much. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Check them all out, even 4. That way you can make your own opinion of things. But 5 was surprisingly good, man. I was so surprised. So, what's the second best? Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. And by air, I mean the sky view, because it was Final Destination BloodLines with the silver spoon. The main event is this sky view building collapse. Great event, Skyview. Great event. Has some of the best death scenes in the entire series. Don't get me wrong, besides 4, I think that they worked really hard on all the death scenes throughout this entire film franchise, but they really fucking worked hard on these ones. So much so that we have quality over quantity. The biggest con of this film is that there's not enough deaths. There's so much mediocre storytelling, but interesting characters and really fucking good deaths. The thing that you're going to see for this movie is the thing that you get, and you get that thing tenfold. Just kind of wish the MRI machine was last. So I gave this a medium with butter, if you don't remember, which leaves, by process of elimination, one film that was the best film of the Final Destination series. Can you figure out what it was? I'm going to tell you right now. It was Final Destination 1 with Devon Sawa. Sawa? 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 Yeah, I said it. If you don't remember, this is the one with the plane crashes. Dog, give Devon Sawa like a horror fucking award for this. Because he's the best freaker outer in the entire franchise. Everyone has a premonition in all of the films. You don't really see it in Blood. Actually, you do see the aftermath in BloodLines where she wakes up from the premonition. But he has the most realistic reaction. And that's, what the fuck, the plane's gonna fucking explode? And you're like, holy shit, this guy had a fucking premonition. We gotta get the fuck out of here. That's exactly what I would think. And he does it to a T. I'm a big Devon Sawa fan. If you haven't watched Idle Hands, watch Idle Hands. It's super dope. He's also in the television series Chucky. But anyways, it's not just his acting that makes this film great. This film has one of the best plane crash scenes that you'll ever watch in cinema. And I put that up there with The Gray with Liam Neeson. I think that was a very good one. But it also has great deaths in general. His best friend, who's far right on the screen, Todd, he has the first death scene that involved death chasing someone. And that is where he slips on some water and hits a drying clothesline, and he accidentally hangs himself. I'm saying this, it's a fictitious movie, all right? Don't give me shit about laughing. He accidentally hangs himself in the shower. But he slips around so much he can't get up. A little silly, but, you know, sound effects and everything, it kind of makes it like, okay, I can buy this, I guess. Because it shows the supernatural element of death trying to kill these people. So much so that they fucking abandoned it for all the other films. And it was one of my favorite things about the first film. Was death was a character. Meaning, before Todd accidentally hung himself, he looks in the mirror and he sees a black presence behind him. And he looks, turns around and there's nothing there. After Also, while he's hanging, his eyes turn bloodshot red. That was a really cool effect. They had these little things that they kept adding to scenes that made it really, really good. But after he's dead, it shows the water that was leaking on the ground start to disappear back into the toilet as if Death was cleaning up his mess. That was super cool. Later on, when a character dies in the kitchen, you see her look at a teapot and you see that black presence come behind her. And she looks behind herself and can't see anything. That's really cool. Death is like a serial killer in this film, in this installment, and really only in this installment. The rest, you can see like these weird events happening, these Rube Goldberg machines happening to kill off these characters, but you never see a presence. And I wish that the other films would have kept that tool, that mechanism for the rest of the films, to have Death be a presence, not just a feeling. So I gave this one a large. And some of the best, wow, my lisp really got strong there. Some of the best death scenes are, my favorite, I already mentioned basically all of them, except the train track scene with Seann William Scott. That, I remember it in my mind, because that's where you remember things. The theater going fucking nuts when that happened. That shit was hilarious. And the infamous bus scene that we talked about earlier, because that was one of the first times that someone got fucking smashed with a bus on cinema. At least something so famous and something so new. So, props to you, Final Destination. I see why a franchise was made because of you. All hail Final Destination. All hail. And one more mention of Tony Todd, R.I.P. Final Destination BloodLines was his last film. They let him do the last scene for his own words as the final words that he wants to give to the audience before he's done with his final role in a film. They all knew. They knew that he looked sickly. I don't think any of them knew about what he was dying from, but they knew. So he has like a little monologue. It's not like, oh my God, one of the best monologues ever, but to know that we're hearing from a character that knows he's going to die soon and an actor who in real life knows he's going to die soon give off this message to other characters in the film and to the general audiences of the actual world. It was kind of dope. It was really, really cool. I really, really liked it. And it was a perfect message. I think it's a good message of like all the films. I don't want to give it away. I will give it away. No, I won't give it away. That'd be fucked up. But it's a good message. So, see Final Destination BloodLines in theaters. Before you do, have some fun at home, grab some popcorn, and watch all the Final Destinations on Max right now. Other films that are in theaters right now are Friendship, which I've talked about multiple times. I just wanted to mention that this is still in select theaters right now, but it will be more widely spread out. And by that, I mean it'll be in AMC's, which is good for me because I'm in the AMC Stubbs list. And that's the only reason I'll go see this movie unless it's streaming. But I'm very excited for Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd's new friendly dark comedy. What is going on? Oh, the other new movies that are out, I guess I forgot to write these down, are Hurry Up Tomorrow. This is out right now. Oh, I see why I didn't, because I think this movie's going to suck. That's my Poppin forecast. We actually didn't discuss it last week because I didn't want to talk about it, but fuck it, I will. I really like Jenna Ortega. Barry Keoghan, I can't pronounce his name. He plays the Joker in The Batman, the Robert Pattinson one. He's also in many other things, like, I forgot the name. What's that movie that's really fucking disgusting? Ah, man, it's so gross, the bathtub scene. Saltburn. This is the dude from Saltburn. I like to think of him as the guy from Killing of a Sacred Deer or Eternals or Banshees of Inisherin. Great actor. Strange actor, but good actor. Him, Jenna Ortega, and The Weeknd are in a film called Hurry Up Tomorrow. Plagued by insomnia, a musician gets pulled into a nightmarish odyssey with a stranger who begins to unravel the core of his existence. The director did Waves and It Comes at Night. I haven't seen Waves. I've heard good things. And It Comes at Night, I don't recommend any of you guys to see it because I thought it was going to be much more of a, this is a scary film. but it's really like a psychological thriller of like, what if it's nothing? And what if it isn't a thing? So that kind of sucked. But it was, I think, a fairly well-made movie, just one that no one really liked. This movie looks awful. Check out the trailer. I dislike The Weeknd. I couldn't vibe with his music. The Idol sucked. We all agree. But he co-wrote this movie, and when I found out that, I'm like, dude, you're a bad writer. We did not like The Idol. And I'm reading online, this movie sucks. But it's got Jenna Ortega, it's got Barry. Maybe it's better than what they say it is, but I doubt it. Find out for yourself by going to theaters and letting me know, because trust me, I will not be seeing this. Now let's jump to what's coming out this week. So I know what you're asking yourself. Whoops. So I know what you're asking yourself. There's so much content in the world, but what's out right now that I should watch? Or what are some other options for me to watch instead of going out and playing with my children? I don't want to play with my children. I want to watch stuff at home or in theaters. What are my options? Well, you can go to the movie theater and check out the action final installment of Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible, aka Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which stars Tom Cruise and others. I don't want to go over all of them because I don't want to look at the cast list because I'm very excited for this movie. I'm a big Mission Impossible fan. You can watch all the Mission Impossibles on Paramount Plus right now. They're fun. The storyline gets more and more ridiculous with each film, and we're going to be ranking all of them next week. Having said that, the last Mission Impossible film that came out, The Dead Reckoning, was the worst Mission Impossible of all of them. This one, I'm hearing great things. I do like Tom Cruise. He's one of the last action movie stars. He does his own stunts, and they're fucking crazy, batshit. Whether or not you like him in real life, you can't deny his commitment to cinema. And I'm excited for this. I didn't watch a trailer, so I know it's going to be crazy, and I know it's going to be the last one. And it's about time, especially after that last one. But it's going to be in theaters Thursday. Also in theaters is Lilo and Stitch, the live-action version, starring a lonely Hawaiian girl who befriends a runaway alien, helping to mend her fragmented family. My Poppin' forecast for this will be medium with butter for everyone, but really medium just for me. I was never the biggest Lilo and Stitch fan. Don't yell at me. Don't chastise me. I'm not saying it was bad. I just wasn't that big of a fan of it when it first came out. I am a fan of live-action adaptations. I have the ability, because let's face it, everything's going to be remade. This one looks cute, looks fun, and it looks like I got the voice down. So you can check this out in theaters Thursday. If you want to check out something on streaming, check out Fountain of Youth on Apple TV Plus, which stars two estranged siblings that partner on a global heist to find the mythological Fountain of Youth. They must use their knowledge of history to follow clues on an adventure that will change their lives and possibly lead to immortality. Stars John Krasinski, Natalie Portman, and other people. But it's directed by Guy Ritchie, one of my favorite directors that did Snatch, The Gentleman, the Sherlock Holmeses, and Aladdin. I didn't hate Aladdin, but I didn't love Aladdin either. It was very different from the rest of his films, which is why I think this one's going to be very different from the rest of his films. I don't think that he co-wrote it. I think he just directed it. So I think it'll be directed very well. I did check out the first trailer. It looks fun, but I have a feeling that it's going to be a medium with butter. I hope it's a large with butter. Don't get me wrong. I'm rooting for John Krasinski. I'm rooting for Natalie Portman. And, of course, I'm rooting for Guy Ritchie. I just think it's going to be a medium with butter. I am excited to watch it, though. It looks like a fun adventure film that we don't ever get anymore. And we really need another one. So let's see how it goes, Guy. Let's check it out on Apple TV Plus Friday. We're already talking about Lilo and Stitch. Also streaming on Netflix is Fear Street Prom Queen. Does Fear Street sound familiar? It probably does, because Netflix came out with 3 movies a couple of years ago. If you check back on Poppin website, you can see the review of all of them. All pretty fun, but like nothing like, oh my God, this is amazing. But fun horror movies to watch at home. This one I'm more excited about than the trilogy. When the It Girls, competing for prom queen at Shadyside High, start to disappear, a gutsy outsider discovers she's in for one hell of a prom night. This is based off the R.L. Stine books. If you don't remember R.L. Stine, he did the Goosebumps books. This one is based off of the books just like the other Fear Street movies, but it's not a direct sequel to the trilogy. I'm sure they're going to have a lot of Easter eggs from that trilogy. I forecast this being a medium with butter. Hopefully it's even better. I do forecast it to be better than the trilogy. I think the trilogy was, what's the word, ambitious. They came out a week apart, and I think they filmed them all at the same time. And it overall worked. I just think that this one's going to be better. I think also being a horror fan and liking originals like Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis, highly recommend. You can do a lot of fun with this. So hopefully it will be good. Hopefully it's a whodunit as well. This is on Netflix Friday. Also streaming Friday. It is not new, but I told you guys, I think it's number 2 on the top 8 films of 2025. I'm sorry, the top 8 Poppin films of 2025. Mickey 17, which centers on a disposable employee who's sent on a human expedition to colonize the ice world Niflheim. After one iteration dies, a new body is regenerated with most of his memories intact. Do you understand what I said? Probably barely, but it's a dope film starring Robert Pattinson, and one of his iterations has a very annoying voice. You get used to it and you grow to love the character, but the film is directed by Bong Joon-ho, who did Parasite, Mother, The Host, Memories of a Murder, I believe, too. Really great director. He's great at comedy as well. He did Okja on Netflix. I don't really recommend it. But anyways, great director. This is a fun movie that you find very unpredictable because it's a foreign director, meaning filmmakers from overseas have a different way of drawing out plots or how things are discovered or how things unfold. That's why I like foreign films, because you don't see what's going to happen. Even as a foreign filmmaker, just by himself, if he was American, he would still be one of the most unique storytellers in Hollywood or in cinematic history. Excellent, fun. Check it out on HBO Max. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Now on TV, you can watch Big Mouth's final season on Netflix, which centers on teenage friends that find their lives upended by the wonders and horrors of puberty. I forecast this final season to be large. I did watch the first few seasons, and I kind of just lost track of it. But the final season's on Netflix Friday. And the return of Rick and Morty on Adult Swim Sundays and HBO Max Mondays. It's like their, 9th or 8th season. I want the show to wrap up because it's got a lot of high concept plots. And if you do so many high concept plots, I think it's eventually going to jump the shark. Some say it has already. I'm banking on it not. I'm really crossing my fingers. I'm nervous that they will. But I'm excited nonetheless. And finally, you can check out Sirens on Netflix, which centers on Devin, who is concerned by her sister's unhealthy relationship with her new boss. Julianne Moore and Kevin Bacon and Allie Woolcock? I can't remember. Allie something. She's playing Supergirl in an upcoming Supergirl film. I forecast this for myself to be small, but I do think people are going to be talking about this show. I watched the trailer and I wasn't very interested. But that's it. That's what's coming out this week. I hope that you guys enjoyed tonight's episode. Feel free to let me know what you did or did not like. And before I go, Corinne, thank you for watching, Corinne. She cannot wait for Lilo and Stitch. A lot of people are excited. I'm slightly excited. Like I said, I like live action adaptations of animated classics. And I think especially if I had kids, I'd be more excited, especially to be like, hey, look at this. We can share this together. But I'm more excited for Mission Impossible. Now, I have a mission for you, viewers, watchers at home, people of the night, and people of the day. Do me a favor, share this video. Like this video, subscribe to this video. We're at 80 subscribers right now. It sounds crazy for me to say this because I feel like anyone that's successful, of course, they start from the bottom. Now we're here. Having said that, let's get that shit up to 100 before the end of this season. That would be super dope. Let's do it tonight. Let's get to 100 subscribers. If not, it's whatever. I still have fun doing this, and I hope you guys like the layout. If there's any movie that I haven't mentioned, if there's any TV show that you disagree with, or if there's anything along those lines that you guys want to argue with me about or suggest to me, or if you want to fund this project, or if you want to see more sketches, make sure you leave a comment. And make sure you share this video, and make sure you like it, and make sure you subscribe. And